A couple days ago, Jesus said, "Dakota, I want to show you something." I saw his hand reach out. I grabbed his hand back in the spirit. He pulled me on for a piggyback ride. And then he brought me to a place that I had never seen before in the spirit. I'm going to tell you about it. Hi, my name is Dakota Lee. I have a gift to see in the spirit. I'm also a professional animal communicator, and God's been letting me visit heaven since I was 12 years old. I was getting this piggyback ride from Jesus, and I just commented on how I smelled his hair, and it smelled like sweet wood, and he just kind of smiled at that. But he was bringing me to this new place, and this day I could tell that the journey was taking a while. It looked like we were going down a tunnel, and it was taking a long time. And I asked Jesus, "Hey, is this because you're trying to help me settle in and tune into you?" And he sort of just nodded. And it was true, because that day I was having a lot of trouble just settling down. I was feeling a lot of anxiousness. And when I'm feeling like that, it can often be really hard for me to focus on what he's saying. My mind will just want to go somewhere else, will want to break out of the experience with him. But I was getting my piggyback ride, and I had my arms wrapped around his shoulder. And so it was settling me in. He was my anchor in the spirit. And by the way, every spirit I interact with, I test, did Jesus Christ come in the flesh? And his answer is yes, and I am he. Well, finally we arrived somewhere, and at first I couldn't see anything. It was all dark, but I could still feel Jesus. I could still hear him. And so Jesus said to me, "Dakota," I felt him pulling me around, so he had me in the front. And so he's holding me in his arms, sort of like bride style. And he said, "Dakota, I'm going to put you down, but just because you're sitting somewhere doesn't mean I'm gone, okay?" And I go, "Okay." So I feel him set me down on something, and I sort of felt him move away. He was going to go prepare something. And I was trying to look around. My eyes were trying to catch up, because he was taking me to a dimension I wasn't really tuned into yet. Jesus is easily able to move through the dimensions, and I'm just a baby getting started, and often tuning into different dimensions is a lot like a radio channel. So sometimes my hearing is tuned in, I can feel it's tuned in, but my eyes weren't tuned in. Actually, you know what triggered my sight to come back? All of a sudden, from my left, there was this flash of light, and I looked over, and Jesus' silhouette was illuminated next to this triangular doorway that came up to a point. That was the top of it. And I looked over and saw him, and I could start to see I was in this almost like a blank dark space, but there was this triangle doorway, and Jesus opened up one triangle doorway, and a bunch of other triangle doorways started to lift, almost like it was the bottom edge of a curtain, like a gigantic veil, huge, thick veil, starting to be lifted, like those old theater curtains, right? They'll lift from the bottom just a little bit. So I saw his silhouette, and as soon as he got it lifted just a bit, I saw him turn and kind of hustle on back to me. He got over to me, he held out his hand to me again, and I grabbed his hand. He lifted me back up, and he said, "This is what I want to show you." I'm debating on whether or not this just needs to be a long video, because there is so much more. I guess stay tuned for part 3. This is the problem. I get these amazing experiences that I'm so excited to tell, but this platform is not the best space to share them in their entirety. So I am starting to create something new that will give us a better space to interact. If you are interested, there's a link in this video file. Go check it out to get the information. I hope to see you there.